Cast your mind back to 2008. Takashi Iizuka had officially become the leader of Sonic Team, Jason Griffith was still the voice of Sonic in both games and TV, and John Carpenter was really enjoying the one where he turns into a werewolf. His words, not mine. Yep, a great time to be a Sonic fan, and a great year to be alive. It's such a great time to be a Sonic fan that Sega decides to hold a contest. On the 28th of August that year, they announced the Sonic and the Black Knight fan art contest on their blog, asking fans to send in their own art based on their favourite scene from the franchise up to that point. The rules were simple. Be over the age of 13, keep the dimensions of the art at 11 by 8.5 inches, submit them by the 12th of September for postal entries, and the 19th for digital entries, and most importantly, that the entries had to be original and created by the person submitting them. Let's just put a pin in that one for a bit, shall we? The 20 best entries from each region of the world would win their artist two things: a free copy of Sonic and the Black Knight when it released the next year, but even more prestigiously, having their entry featured in the game itself. If you go into the game's gallery section and head over to Vault 4, you should see 3 different videos that contain the winning submissions for Europe, North America and Japan respectively. They all look great, and there's some really neat bits of art in here. I really like this hand-drawn one based on Sonic CD's opening, and this entry featuring Team Dark was the coolest shit that 10-year-old me had ever seen. Here's a cool bit of trivia for you. Evan Stanley, who does the writing and art for the Archie and IDW comics, as well as an episode of the Sonic Boom TV show, was actually one of the winning artists for this contest, and as a result, she has her entry featured in the game's gallery. It's of Sonic recognising himself in the mural seen in Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 3, which is a whole other topic that I really want to do a video on eventually. However, there's one piece of art in particular that stands out. Antonio Miniero from Italy was one of the European winners, basing his entry on this cutscene from Sonic Adventure 2. So, what exactly is it about Antonio's entry that makes it stand out? Let's take that pin from earlier out, the one where entries had to be original and created by the person submitting them. This is artwork by Mega777, a popular user in the community during the 2000s. This is the original sketch of that art, and this is a photo of the original sketch of that art. Antonio had traced and copied the illustration almost one-to-one, and submitted it into the contest despite the rules set by Sega. The Sonic community, as you'd expect, wasn't too happy about this.
So, you like
tracing art?
Do ya? Well, we'll show you!
Antonio.
There he is! Go get him!
A few weeks after the game's release, and once word had gotten out, some fans were able to get in contact with Mega777 and let her know what had happened. She was sent a free copy of Sonic and the Black Knight, as well as a Sega goodie bag and rare art prints from Sonic and the Secret Rings. Antonio would also post a public apology to the community. I thought they would have turned to websites to check for any malpractice. When I found out I won, I cannot deny the fact that I was happy, but having won with that picture, I was also afraid of such a reaction. All this is absolutely not an excuse to justify my actions. I know I have been wrong and I take all the responsibility for what I did, accepting any decision made by Sega and Sonic Italia. I want to apologise to all those who were offended by this, especially with the 21st winner. It is my fault that they did not win. I officially apologise to Mega777 for having soiled her masterpiece. I respect her very much, and the fact that I had acted against her, albeit unintentionally, I feel deplorable. When I originally posted about this story on the Crazy Ass Moments in Sonic the Hedgehog History Twitter account, yes, I'm doing a shameless plug, fuck off, I was surprised to get a reply from Antonio Miniero himself, who had stumbled across it by chance after looking up the art contest so that he could explain the situation to his girlfriend. He was happy to answer some questions from me to get a better insight into the situation a decade ago. Antonio isn't sure where he found out about the contest, but he reckons that it was likely on a forum, possibly the Italian message board Sonic Italia as mentioned in his earlier apology, or quite possibly the Sega blog itself. When I asked him about why he decided to trace the artwork, he explained that I was a naive kid that liked video games and drawing, often imitating the other styles and compositions because I was unable to find my own. The internet was a new thing for me at that time, so sharing art online was a novel concept. I wasn't that dense, copying equals bad is no news, but in my mind, using the general composition and drawing the rest by myself was okay for a contest. He was initially thrilled at winning, but this changed quite quickly after fans had found out about what he'd done. It's also interesting to note that at some point, Antonio joined Sonic Paradox, who you probably know for their excellent Sonic shorts and Sonic Legacy series of fan comics. He did some animation for them, but his busy personal life led him to leave the team due to a lack of time. When discussing how he felt once word had gotten out that he had traced Mega 777's art for the contest, he stated that, "I felt awful, too ashamed to stick around and threatened by people's reaction. Basically, I disappeared for about 2 years, and I couldn't bring myself to pick up a pencil. I started drawing again only after I managed to contact Mega 777 and apologise to her. She told me to keep drawing." Looking back on the situation over a decade later, he explained, "I can sum up my feeling with that sentiment when you look up at your younger self and think, wow, was I really that dumb? For years, I only talked about this to my closest artist friends, but now, I have come to accept that mistakes were made, and I have no problem owning up to it." And good on him in my book. It's cool to know that even after all these years, Antonio is still around and has been doing some really cool stuff, continuing to create, and is quite happily living his life. So yeah, I finally did something with this channel after what? 2 years of basically nothing and a year of promising that I'd make videos? Stick around if you want, I've got a video about the entire history of the Archie Sonic comics coming eventually. There's nearly 700 fucking issues of them, you're gonna have to give me time on that one. I'm currently working on a video about some of the most obscure Sonic characters, as well as some non-Sonic related videos, and one about why Sonic 2 is the worst game in the entire series. Alright, that's me done now, bye!